everyone, this is Yvonne from Yvonne Ceramics. In today's video, we'll be glazing some hand-built plates, and the glazes that we'll be using are crystalline glazes. So look at the beautiful snowflakes crystals developed onto the plates. And there are a couple more. So they are a mix of stoneware and porcelain clay. This is the stoneware plate. This is a porcelain plate with beautiful crystal on the plate. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos each week. Let's take a look at what we are glazing today. So I've got some plates here. Some have carving on it. Some are just plain white clay plates. And as you can see, if you compare, let's say this one and this one, you can see there's definitely a difference in color on the clay. By the way, this is bisque already. So this one is whiter than this one because this is made using stoneware, white stoneware clay, whereas this is porcelain. So that's why the porcelain plate, which is this one, is whiter than this one. But nonetheless, I think it will be a really good test experiment for us to see how the crystalline glaze react on stoneware clay as compared to porcelain clay. I know already that on porcelain clay the color will be brighter because the clay is whiter. And I also did some carving. This one is also porcelain clay. Did some carving on this plate to see how the glaze pools on the plate as compared to just on plain. This will be a really good way, a beginner's way of testing crystalline glaze, because if you glaze on a plate here, we all know crystalline glazes, they run a lot, so it will just all run in here. It won't run onto your kiln shelf. And as for the back side of the plate, I'll be glazed using the Amacos Celadon glazes, which is a very stable, doesn't run glaze. And we all know that crystalline glaze, they are not food safe because the way the crystal grows while we're glaze firing. So that's why I put not food safe on the plates, on all the plates, just to remind people that this glaze is not for food, it's for decoration, but it'll be really good for people to put little jewelry or trinkets here. So that's why it's really important to write that on the back side of the plate, and I just use black underglaze to write that. Let's take a look at some of the glazes that we'll be using today. So in another video, I already demonstrated the 4 crystalline glazes from Chrysanthos. So these are the glazes we'll be using today. We have a green one with green crystal, a pink with pink crystal, a yellow with blue crystal, and a blue with blue crystals. So you can see this mark here is where I painted the glazes, and it ran quite a bit. So that's why today when we are glazing the crystalline glazes, we're only glazing on this surface here. And as for the back side here, I'll be using the Amacos Celadon glazes, which are here. This is made using the porcelain clay as well. So you can see the colors. So as for the, if I'm using the green crystalline glaze, I think the back side I'll be using the succulent. And for the blue one, the back side, I think I'll be using the sky. As for this pink crystalline, I think it'll pair well with the cherry. And the yellow one, it will go really well. I was thinking of iron, but it might be too dark. I think I'll go with marigold. So I have already cleaned the plates, but it's been sitting on the shelf for quite a while, so I'm going to use a sponge to just clean off whatever dust that is on the surface of the plates so that it's dust free when I am glazing. Just a quick wipe with a sponge. And also the back side as well. Okay, so after cleaning that, let's start with, this is the Chrysanthos Supernova Glaze. This is the Nemesis. So I believe Nemesis is, let me look back, okay. Yeah, Nemesis is the pink one. So we'll start with the Nemesis glaze. Because the way the glaze is bottled, I can't put my brushes in here because this is a narrow top, so I need to pour it out onto a paint palette. So I pour out the glaze onto my palette. It's a very thick glaze, so I need to stir it around a little bit. And because this is a pink one, I'm going to glaze just the flower pink. I know it's a runny glaze, so most likely run and not just stay on the flower, but this is an experiment. It doesn't hurt to just experiment a little bit and see how it turns out, right? So I'm just glazing the flower pink, and make sure you glaze about 4 to 5 coats because it runs, so you want to make sure you have a very good coverage. And when I'm glazing, I am making sure I'm just glazing the top of the plate and not the sides because I don't want it to run down the plate. So whatever you don't glaze, I'll just do Celadon to cover those areas. So as you can see, it dries quite quickly. And make sure that you apply the second coat or the next coat after the previous coat has dried. So now I've applied 2 coats on the flowers. I'm going to wait for it to dry a little bit. As for this plate, I am thinking of doing pink on the outer edge and then green on the inside. I'm just doing it roughly because I know it will run, so it will just blend the color together. So I'm not too concerned about staying inside the line. I might even cover or overlap the glazes a little bit just to make sure the whole plate is glazed. So I know Chrysanthos, they don't have a lot of distributor in Canada. I'm not sure about the US because when they ship the glazes to me, it's all the way from China. So I assume that they sell most of the glazes in China or Asia. I know some people said that they distribute in Australia as well. So if you're located in North America, it might be more challenging for you to get these glazes. You will have to pay shipping to get these glazes, and that's exactly what I did. I paid quite a bit of shipping just to get these glazes. But I do really wanted to try these glazes, so that's why I'm willing to pay for the shipping. Okay, so I did 2 coats already, so I'm just gonna let this dry again. And then now going back to here, can do my third coat. That's why it's really important for me, just for time efficiency, to have two glazing project at once, so I can wait for I can do the next project while the other one is drying. Okay, now these guys are all drying. Then I can do the green, which I believe the green is called Electra. Yes, so I don't want to mix up the glazes, so I think I'll get another paint palette. So I've got the Electra, which is the green glaze. Just gonna paint on the leaves. So in order to make this plate, I did first I used pencil to draw the pattern on the plate, and then I used carving knife to carve out the flower and the leaves. It's actually quite a meditative and calming process. Quite fun. Maybe I'll do a video on how I did the pattern. Now while I'm waiting for the glaze to dry, I'm going to start with the majority of this plate, which I'll be using the blue glazes, the blue crystalline glaze, which is this one here. So I'm just spreading it generously, make sure it goes into the crevice as well, but at the same time not to go to the edge of the plate. I actually don't know how this would all look, so I'm quite excited to see this as well, to see how this will all turn out. This is my first time blending all the crystalline glazes together. So this one is a stoneware plate. Instead of doing different colors, for this one I just want to do one color to see and to show contrast with the other plate. So I'm going to use the blue one because I love the color of this blue. You can see here. It's a very deep, bright blue with blue crystals. You can see here. So, and especially if you see here where I put a fingernail here, and when there's a texture, it will go deep. So I think it will go really well with these carvings. So I'm going to use a fan brush. Make sure the brush is loaded with the glaze, and then just brush it across the plate. And same thing, I'm just doing the top of the plate and not the side, so it doesn't run down to the kiln shelf. For this beautiful porcelain plate that I have carved the back side, I'm going to do green because I think it will look nice to have green on here. So I'm just going to do this green. So this one I will show you. It's a beautiful, nice green color. So I am just going to load up my fan brush and just go across. So I'm doing 5 coats for all the crystalline glazes. So while my other plates are drying, I have one last plate. This one is a porcelain plate. I'm going to glaze it with this glaze, which is the Alcor. It has beautiful yellow background with blue crystals. So I've got my Alcor here, loading my fan brush with the glaze. And this one I am just going to have one color as well. These are all hand-built plates, by the way, so I just rolled out a slab and put them onto my plaster hump mold to get the shape of the plate. Alright, so now that we have finished glazing the front of the plate, it's time to glaze the side and the back of the plate. Since the majority of this one was glazed with the blue crystalline glaze, I'm gonna glaze it with the Amaco Sky, which is this one here. Like I said earlier, I'm using the Celadon glaze because they are stable and doesn't run. And I'm using these paint brushes. They are actually Chinese painting brushes. I like to use them because they have a nice tip and they're really flexible, so it can go into the nooks and crevices. So with this plate, because the front of the glaze will be this one yellow on the background, so on the back side I am going to use the marigold Celadon glaze for the back side as well. So because this one has no foot, I am going to just glaze the side, avoiding the bottom. So I know there's a bit of glaze here that I dropped accidentally, so I'll need to clean that up later. So I'll try my best to only glaze the side of the plate. As for this one, because the edge here is the pink crystalline glaze, the backside I'll be using the cherry blossom Celadon glaze. So with the cherry blossom Celadon glaze, I need to make sure I am putting on 3 coats to get a good coverage. And this one, because this is the green crystalline glaze, on the back side I'll be using the succulent Celadon glaze on the back. And I think this will look really nice because I did a lot of carving on the back side. So where there's carving and grooves, it'll be darker in color. That's where the glazes will pool. I'm basically done glazing, but remember this plate where I don't have a foot and I drip some glaze on the bottom? So I'm going to show you how to clean that up. So here I have a piece of old carpet. I like to call it my magic carpet. I'm going to get my sponge wet with water. I'm just going to wet this carpet with water so that the carpet is wet now. Maybe a little bit more water. Okay, basically now the carpet's wet. I'm going to slide my plate just around in a circular motion along the magic carpet like that. What it's doing is because the carpet is wet, and so it will clean off the bottom of the plate. As you can see, it's already cleaned off. And because this plate has no foot, I want to make sure it's not touching the bottom, and that's where the carpet comes in handy. It will also clean off the edge as well. So I like to also spin it a little bit as well. I think it did a really good job. So we can see here, if I put my eye on the eye level of this plate, you can see, well, it's kind of hard for you to see, but right now I'm at the eye level with the table, and I can see that the glaze is not touching the table, and there's about this much space between the table and the glaze. So I'm happy with that. I've cleaned off the bottom. I need to put the not for food with black underglaze again here, but that's not a big deal. The important part is to clean off the bottom really nicely. And so you can try this if you have a piece of old carpet at home. You can make your own magic carpet. So I unloaded the kiln. Right away you'll see a really huge difference. This one here, it has a beautiful glossy finish, has smaller crystals but very smooth to touch. Here's the bottom, very nice. I like how the Celadon glaze showed through under the carvings. And then this one as well, It's so this is the stoneware plate, this is a porcelain, so you can see the difference. This is a darker in color, but you can still show through the carving on the plate and the crystals, beautiful nice crystals, and that's the back. So these two are placed in the middle shelf of the kiln, and these three, they are on the bottom shelf of the kiln. So this one has lots of crystals. They are matte to touch and kind of a little bit rough and sharp here. Yeah, for the whole plate it's a bit rough and matte, and a lot of crystals, like smaller crystals as compared to the big one here. And that's the back as well. And this one, very matte finish compared to this one. So remember how these two are the same glaze, except this one is made with porcelain. This one is, no, these two are both stoneware clay, I feel like. So except that this one is on the bottom shelf, this is in the middle shelf, and this one has a very matte finish, lots of smaller crystals. I'm glad that these did not run together. I love how the color just stayed where I put them. And then this one also on the bottom shelf, this one is porcelain, and you can see the color difference. This one has lots of crystals but matte finish. This one is glossy. Color is very similar, and I love the pink that pulled in the carving here. It's very beautiful. That's the back. I feel like I like the glossy one much better because of how it touches. These ones have nice little crystals, but I like the little bigger one with the smooth glossy finish. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comment section which plate you like more. And thank you everyone for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.